plan. We could do it, by the way, right over a Zoom. Right? You don't even have to leave your house or your office. We could do it on an evening if you're busy during the workday or a weekend. We could do it in my Radnor office, which is right behind the Radnor Hotel, Lancaster Avenue. But the important thing to know is this will be 100% complimentary for the next 5 people who call in. And the number is 610-894-7415. Again, 610-894-7415. And think about it, from a time standpoint. Here we are. We're at the start of 2025, right here in the middle of January. The hustle and bustle of the holidays is over. So this is just a perfect time to start focusing on yourself and your own finances, especially if you've been putting this off for months or even years. This is probably as good of a time as it's going to get. So take me up on the offer, grab your phone, give me a call, and I'd be happy to guide you through your finances and tax planning. And I'm going to be doing this completely complimentary. We just want to start this year, 2025. Let's start with our putting our best foot forward, especially when it comes to our retirement plans, investment plans, tax plans. We want them in tip-top shape. So here's the number one last time, 610-894-7415, Chris.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The journey towards having that freedom to retire begins with this phone call right now. Complimentary to you, 610-894-7415. You can always find them online, Jim and his team online, retirereadyfg.com. I want to thank you, as always, for joining us here on Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, powered by the Retire Ready Financial Group. Hope you have a great week ahead of you. Don't forget you can catch Jim on TV a little later on, beginning of next month. But Jim, appreciate the time as always. Hope you have a great week as well. Fly, Eagles, fly, of course, as always. And as we wrap up, want to leave you with the final word.
That's right, Chris. Go Birds. And everyone, don't forget to tune in February 1st, Saturday, 7:30 p.m., NBC, to see yours truly on his very first TV show. I'll be on for a half hour. So, again, get that second opinion. Whatever your current financial advisor might be helping you with, another set of eyes could really point out some things you might be missing. Have a great week, everybody. Can't wait till next time.
If you have questions or concerns about reaching your retirement goals, then give Retire Ready Financial Group a call, 610-894-7415, or visit online at retirereadyfg.com.
Investment advice offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, Pennsylvania Registered Investment Advisor, able to provide investment advice in states where it is registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness.
This program is paid for by Retire Ready Financial Group. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Retire Ready Financial Group or their guests and do not reflect the views of WPHT or Odyssey. Today's program is pre-recorded.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Kathy Barnette on Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
Hey, Pennsylvania, how y'all doing? This is your girl, Kathy Barnette, the host of the Kathy Barnette Show. I am so excited to be in studio today, live in studio, the #1 talk radio station in Philadelphia, covering most of the Mid-Atlantic. So I see you, New Jersey. I see you, Delaware, Maryland, the rest of Pennsylvania. I am so very excited to be here and to be in studio with my double good friend, J.R. McGee. J.R. is the founder and CEO at Extreme Leadership Group and a 30-year strategic leadership and counterterrorism specialist and instructor in matters of military intelligence, planning, preparedness. I literally could go on and on and on. JR, you were a very vital member of my team when I was running, my policy team, when I was running for both U.S. Congress in 2020 and when I ran in 2022 for the U.S. Senate seat here in the great state of Pennsylvania. But I am so excited because here's the reality. Come Monday, by the grace of God, at 12 p.m., Donald Trump will take the oath and become the 47th president of the United States. I believe all eyes, all attention, rightfully so, is going to be real focused on what is America doing. But the reality is that Joe Biden is leaving our nation and the world in chaos. In fact, when China coughs, Russia sneezes, and America catches the flu. That's how interconnected we all are as a globe. And the reality is Trump will inherit chaos, not just in America, but around the world. We're going to talk about it. And in fact, if you are on Twitter right now, I am streaming live. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. I brought my big, beautiful globe, and I'm going to spin this globe. We're going to talk about it wherever my finger lands. That's the area, country, continent, or waters that we're going to talk about. If you want to be a part of this conversation, call me, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. And here we go. I'm getting ready to spin the globe. And my finger lands, look at that, in Russia. What's going on in Russia, JR?
Well, Kathy, it is such a privilege to be with you and your audience today. We've only got an hour. How in the world can I tell you everything that's going on with Russia?
This is literally why I speed talk a little bit, guys, because there's so much information. But here it is. I touched Russia. What do we need to know? What just happened yesterday, actually?
Well, Russia just signed a major agreement with Iran, a strategic partnership agreement that's going to become a big deal for economic. It's not military yet, but it's going to become military. Russia is moving into the Middle East, as we all know. Barack Obama was invited back into the Middle East by inviting Russia to come in to help with Syria for the chemical weapons. If you remember, he had that bright red line for chemical weapons. When they invited Russia back in, that gave Russia a tremendous opportunity to re-engage in the Middle East, and they have wasted no time.
Oh, they wasted no time. I mean, between Russia,
replaced the United States as the dominant protector for the majority of the countries.
Between Russia, China, Erdogan, and Turkey, we have these people who are a little bit on the antithesis of who we are as Americans and our values, who are very dominant players. Now, I get why Iran, and you said something when we were, before we came on air, is that Iran is looking for an umbrella. When Donald Trump left office in 2020, Iran was on their last leg. He had truly crippled this nation. And then almost immediately, like within the first 100 days, Biden takes office. He sends another pallet of cash over to Iran, and they waste no time funding Hezbollah again, funding Hamas, funding what's going on in Sudan, and beginning to attack Israel. So for Iran, they have every reason to believe under the second Trump administration, they need an umbrella. They need protection.
They're very concerned because they know that Trump is a man of his word. He's already told them exactly what to expect. The Biden administration did resuscitate Iran. They not just with cash, but political cover. They re-engaged with the strategic agreement to allow Iran to continue to develop nuclear weapons, which they have. Don't let anybody kid you. Iran is, for all intents and purposes, now a nuclear nation. And Iran knows that Trump is going to provide much greater support to Israel and Israel's protection than the Biden administration has, and they're looking for a way to protect themselves. And Russia provides that in spades. So they're looking for Russia to come in. And, you know, if you look at what's happening, there's an alliance, predominantly Shia Islam, Syria, Turkey, Yemen, the country, Iran, led by Iran. These countries are banding together, and Russia is forming very tight alliances with Shia Islam. Now, Sunni Islam is Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt.
Right.
They're not wanting to be part of this. In fact, they view this almost as an existential threat.
Because it is an existential
Absolutely.
threat. Okay. I'm getting ready to, because again, we only have an hour. We can talk about Russia, what's going on here. I want you guys to just get a sense because come January 20th, all eyes on America, on Trump, on the White House. What is he going to do in his first 100 days? And that is great. It is necessary. But there's a really big world out there. And I'm spinning the globe again. And where does my finger land? Oh, look at that. China, of all places.
China is actually more engaged than Russia in the world right now. And China's becoming extremely aggressive. They're using their money and they're using their technology that they're rapidly developing to throw their weight around. China doesn't want to be equal as leaders in the world. They want to be the dominant leader in the world. And they view that as their right. They view that as their destiny. And they want to control the world economically, they want to control the world technologically, and they want to control the world militarily.
And I think, there's no one more desperate than someone who feels trapped. Like a trapped dog is going to come out fighting, no matter how tame and polite and genteel it is. And I believe China, more than anyone, probably on the same footing as Iran, feel it because Donald Trump has been very clear. A new day is about to dawn, and how we interact with China. We understand you are not just another partner out here trying to be competitive, but that you want to be dominant, and your values, your way of doing things, just is truly the antithesis of who we are as Americans.
And I have to tell people the reason why this is so important. China took over Hong Kong and Singapore, and they violated their agreements almost out of the gate. But China needs Taiwan. Taiwan is the dominant producer of semiconductor chips for the entire world. Israel is developing that capability, but right now no one produces chips that drive our technology, our cell phones, our TVs, our telecommunications,
refrigerators,
banking, everything
and they
is driven
want
by
it.
chips. And if China gets that capability, they can then control access to technology. And you combine that with China's trying to take over the South China Sea. 1/5 of all commerce for the entire world goes through the South China Sea.
That's a tremendous amount of power.
If China controls technology, if China controls commerce, they control the world.
Yeah.
Everybody else will have to fall in line.
And not only do they want to control the South China Sea, where you have 25% of all of the world trade moves through, commerce moves through the South China Sea. China wants to dominate that. If they get Taiwan, that's the reason why they're very aggressive with the Philippines right now. They have very large warships out there. This thing is about to bubble. But now Donald Trump has put a spotlight on what's going on in Greenland. There's China up there. He's put a spotlight on what China is doing in Panama Canal, where 70% of the United States trade flows through the Panama Canal, and China truly controls the Panama Canal right now.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter gave the Panama Canal to the Panamanians for $1. Then Panama immediately wrote a contract with China for China to control and operate the Panama Canal from both sides.
Yeah, from both sides, right
China
here.
China controls all traffic, both commercial and military, through the Panama Canal.
And
they
I was just reading that. I was just reading about that last night, that a Hong Kong-based company currently operates terminals at both ends of the canal. So when and again, we're being gaslit as a nation because we have people saying, "Oh, look at Donald Trump. He's being, aggressive and he wants to be the world dictator. He's expansionist." But all of these things are very important.
And you've got to really pay attention to, because China is spending more money on their military than people truly realize. They're building their military faster than the United States built our military in World War II. The numbers of fighter jets, bombers, and mostly naval ships that China is building right now is phenomenal. They're almost 10-1 outbuilding us, out-manufacturing us. Now, our equipment is extremely capable. I'm a huge fan of the F-22 and the F-35. I was program manager of Top Gun twice, training fighter pilots. I love that. No fighter pilot can compare with American fighter pilots.
Right.
But their strategy is, okay, the F-22 right now has got a 22-1 shoot-down ratio. China says, okay, we'll just send 24 planes, and we'll still get you.
Yeah, with
So
the
if
other
they
two.
build 24 and we can only take out 22, that's only going to end one way. People are underestimating China's intentions, their intent, and their capability.
Yeah.
China is truly on a path to do some very aggressive stuff in 2025 and 2026.
Okay, I'm going to spin the globe one more time before we go to break. Here is the call-in number, everyone, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. I'm spinning the globe. Let's see where we land. My eyes are closed, and this time we're in Canada. Look
oh, my
at that.
gosh. You know, everybody thinks that Donald Trump is either crazy or just not being serious by
Because it
talking
just
about
seems
Canada
so out of the blue.
and Greenland.
But, because it seems so out of the blue.
But it's not.
It's not.
It's incredibly strategic. Let me explain to you why. China and Russia are both being very aggressive about taking over the Arctic. Now, the Arctic, everybody thinks that's just nothing but ice. It's got tremendous reserves of oil, minerals, and rare earths that we need, that everybody needs, and Canada and Greenland occupy the majority of the Arctic. Whoever controls Greenland and Canada controls the Arctic.
And let me just put some numbers on that. I mean, when you talk about, just how vitally important the Arctic is, and again, Canada and Greenland controls the overwhelming majority of that. And it is, let me see, where is it? 90 billion barrels of oil and over 1.7 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. That represents about 22% of the world's undiscovered conventional oil and natural gas, in addition to trillions of dollars worth of minerals, including silver, copper, gold, nickel, so much more. We have a very large military base. So this is a vitally important and rich area, and hence the reason why China and Russia are very dominant in this area.
This is an example of where Donald Trump's not just good at real estate. He's very strategic. And people drastically underestimate the strategic importance of these two areas. Whoever controls the Canadian border and the Greenland border for the north is going to be in the high ground. And I don't care whether you're in the military or in business. Occupying the high ground is critically important. Whoever occupies Canada and Greenland occupy the high ground in that conflict. And it is vitally important for whoever's going to be dominant and controlling the world and commerce for freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about the high ground. When I went to Israel, I went to, I don't think it was the tip top of the Golan Heights.
Absolutely.
But you only need to go up on top of, to any high level on the Golan Heights to realize why Israel cannot give up that high ground. Whoever controls the high ground wins the battle.
Absolutely.
9 times out of 10. And so that's the reason why getting control of Greenland as well as Canada, having some sort of control, whatever that control looks like, America must be a dominant player in it. Guys, you're listening to the Kathy Barnette Show on the #1 talk radio station here in Philadelphia. Call me. Be a part of the conversation. 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. See you on the other side.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Tune in tonight starting at 7 p.m. for the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party. Live from Adelphia in Deptford, the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party is broadcast exclusively on 98.1 HD2 and Bob Pantano Dance Party Radio on the Odyssey app. Powered by Daniels Plumbing in Philadelphia.
Great news! There's never been a better time to make the move to Verizon. Get over $500 in value and savings when you have mobile and Fios with Verizon. Plus, the Fios 1 gig plan comes with a 5-year price guarantee. Save up to $300 annually on your Fios internet bill. Plus, for a limited time, get a $200 Verizon gift card when you sign up for a Fios 1 gig plan and use it to pay your Fios bill. That's like getting 3 free months of Fios home internet. Don't miss out. Stop by your nearest Verizon location for details on this limited time offer and learn how you can get over $500 in value and savings today. Gift card offer and 5-year price guarantee ends 2/19/25. Requires Fios service for 65 days before card registration. One offer per eligible account. 3 months free based on Fios 1 gig plan rate of $64.99 per month with auto pay and mobile plus home discounts. Price guarantee for new subscribers and applies to current base rates only. Other charges and third-party services and perks excluded. Additional terms apply. See store for details.
Damon John here, the People Shark. I want to share a secret that's changing people's lives. There is a company called National Debt Relief that can help you get out of debt faster than you ever thought possible, like 12 to 48 months from now. With National Debt Relief, you can cut your minimum credit card payments by 50% and pay as little as $250 a month. Imagine, instead of paying multiple high interest payments every month, you can make one low monthly program payment, plus you can get approved in just a few minutes. They've helped hundreds of thousands of people just like you. Trust me when I tell you, National Debt Relief's got your back and can help you get back on track.
To learn how you can reduce your credit card debt and become debt-free, call 800-234-7799. 800-234-7799. Again, that's 800-234-7799.
Don't wait, apply today.
The pro football playoff season is here, and there's one place to be. The BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Your home for wagertainment, giving you the sharpest insights and bringing on expert guest analysis.
From point spreads to props, live betting to futures, BetQL has you covered every step of the way with wall-to-wall coverage on the road to the championship in New Orleans.
Listen live on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM on the free Odyssey app and twitch.tv/BetQL or YouTube at Odyssey Sports.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
How much longer? Now. What's up, Pennsylvania? This is not my music, Kirk. That's why I didn't know I was coming back already. Hey, Pennsylvania, how y'all doing? How you doing? Delaware, how you doing, New Jersey? Maryland, here's the call-in number, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. Okay, guys, we left off talking about, who are we talking about? Canada, the importance of Greenland. Let me spin the globe and let's see where we are. Closing my eyes, my finger is where? Pacific Ocean. What's going on in the Pacific Ocean?
Well, you know, there's a lot going on in the Pacific Ocean. There's a lot of activity around cables, the underwater telephonic cables, the internet cables, fiber optic cables. Both China and Russia are engaging in activity to deliberately damage these cables, both across the Atlantic and across the Pacific.
That is so true. I think I read yesterday they are intentionally dragging anchors
Yep.
to destroy these cables. Why?
Well, they actually caught one of the Chinese ships that was doing this in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that if they hadn't have caught them within about 10 minutes, they would have destroyed 8 or 9 more, which would have been catastrophic.
Well, what are these cables?
Well, they're cables that deliver the internet. You can go through satellite to bounce internet, but the bandwidth is not anywhere near sufficient enough to carry all of the data that the internet requires. These underground fiber optic cables and undersea fiber optic cables are required to support the bandwidth necessary for intercontinental and interstate commerce. You take out those cables, you start crippling and downgrading the internet and our ability to communicate.
You know, like that reminded me, last year, for the very first time in January, I heard Christopher Wray say that China is going to attack our vital infrastructure. This was in January, and then I heard him again, maybe in March, at some kind of college event speaking, and he said it again this year at the end of this year, at the end of last year, and around December, we saw China hack Janet Yellen, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, her computer and gaining access to some level, some degree of our vital information. So you have China is really on the war path.
It's more than that,
being
Kathy.
very aggressive.
If you look at the drone activity that everybody got so excited about, almost all of our undersea Atlantic cables for telecommunications and internet come into the United States through the area between Baltimore and New Jersey. And that's where we saw a lot of the drone activity. These drones were mapping out both our electrical grids and our telecommunication networks for weaknesses. And that's deliberate. There's no doubt about the fact that information, it's called ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. These ISR missions have been very deliberate, very out in the open. Now, here's an interesting point not a lot of people's talking about. If they're willing to do this and they're willing to be seen and observed, that means they no longer care that they know we're doing it. That means that they're almost ready to do whatever it is that they're going to go do. And I think Christopher Wray finally had to say something because the threat is so imminent and it's so severe. I think what we're looking at is the potential that makes 9/11 look like almost
They are
nothing in comparison.
extremely aggressive. They
Yes.
are in our face. This is not being done behind closed doors. And I think one of the dangers is that many of us here in America, Donald Trump, by the grace of God, is going to be taking office soon, and many of us feel like, whoo, we can kick our feet back up now. No, I think I think people feel very desperate. If you want to be a part of the conversation, call me 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. I am spinning the globe, and where do I land? United States.
Well, again, in 1 hour, I couldn't even begin to cover all that. But I have to tell you, after 45 years in intelligence and counterterrorism, I don't think I've ever been as concerned about the security of our country as I am today for multiple different reasons.
I'm so sorry, Kurt. Can you make sure JR is on YouTube as well? Yeah. Okay, go ahead, JR.
People pay attention to the wildfires, and they should. That's catastrophic. Those wildfires, we're finding out now, were intentionally set by a large portion. And Iran has made it a point over several years to make it known that wildfires were one of their strategic initiatives to use against the United States. And, it doesn't have to be done by an Iranian. They can go pay somebody to do something for them. A lot of these things that are happening are coordinated, they're calibrated, and they're intentional.
Yeah.
You look at what's happening in so many different areas, the instability, the attack on our infrastructures, the attack on our norms, our customs, getting the United States to be so divided. They don't have to, listen, China has figured out they don't have to attack the military like they did in World War II. All they have to do is take out the things that support our society, and
it will cause great chaos.
We're no longer able to resist them.
Yeah.
They don't have to fight us militarily. They just take out our electricity and our telecommunications, and we will beg them to give them whatever they want in order to turn it back on. The American people have zero tolerance for inconvenience. And the Chinese have learned that. The Russians have learned that.
Yeah. I'm spinning the globe. Let's see. Where do we land? Keeping my eyes open this time. Okay. I'm still over here. Hey, the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, Donald Trump did say he'd like to change it to the Gulf of America. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah. I think it's just, because I was thinking about it, right? What's in the name? And, the name tells you so much. And what I think Donald Trump is bringing back into fashion is that America is here. We are no longer your chumps. We will no longer pay you to take from us, right? And to just leave. I mean, literally, we send over, I remember being in college and watching Clinton talk about bringing China into the World Trade Organization. So we sent all of our manufacturing facilities over to China. And then we have NAFTA. We're sending all of our jobs down to NAFTA. Now and they told us, hey, don't worry. We're going to send all of these working class jobs over into, and around the world to build up their middle class. But don't worry, Americans, we're going to retool you for the information jobs. Now we have the information jobs and we're being told, well, Americans are either too dumb or too lazy to do those jobs. So now we have to import the rest of the world into America to do those jobs. But now we have AI. And so now AI you have these virtual assistants that's about to come and take over these jobs. Where does that leave Americans? And one of the things I think Donald Trump is bringing back into fashion is not only testosterone, but, for individual men to stand up and be men again, but testosterone around the world. We
Amen.
are no longer your punks and your chumps.
It's interesting that since World War II, the American people have given more money to more countries and for more aid and for more disasters than anybody in history. Now, people talk a lot about American exceptionalism. That does not mean that Americans are better than anybody else. It doesn't mean that we know more. American exceptionalism means that we chose to rule ourselves rather than to have a government rule us. That's what makes us exceptional. And one of the things that's an artifact of that exceptionalism is our generosity. Americans are exceptional because we will give money, we will give aid, we will give support to anybody in need. We have given billions and trillions of dollars since World War II to everybody in the world. I can promise you, if Russia and China become the dominant powers, they will not be as benevolent as the United States has been. We have made mistakes. We've done some things that were terrible. I will never defend every single thing that we've done in the world. But America is truly exceptional because America is the one place where the people are supposed to be the rulers of themselves. And we've chosen to have a culture to where we want to help other people and bring them up to speed. So when we do that, we give people the opportunity to become their best selves. That's exceptional.
It is exceptional, except for the fact that, the rest of the world, everyone is not like us. And I think that's been one of Americans' greatest Achilles heel is that we think everyone wants to be just like us. And that's not the case. I remember when Obama took office and he was talking about, oh, look, an Arab Spring, they want democracy. No, their idea of democracy is not our idea of democracy. Correct. And so when you walk into other parts of the world as a young girl, I'm in the military, I'm traveling the world, and you're going into different countries. And one of the things I realized very quickly, like, for example, when I went to South Korea, I realized I'm not in Kansas anymore. This is not America, right? Their idea of democracy and they would consider themselves a democracy, but their form of democracy is very different from ours. When I saw young girls being sold by their fathers for farm equipment, I saw that.
Yeah.
And I talked to these young girls, and this is what they specifically told me. That's not any democracy I've seen in America. And so we have to realize that when we're walking out of I think it's great to travel the world because then you can come back here and begin to have a greater appreciation for America.
God has blessed me to be able to have worked in 56 countries now. And I've been around the world several times. Not bad for a boy from South Alabama. and I've seen so many different things and seen so many different cultures, and every one of them's got their strengths and every one of them's got their weaknesses. America's no different. We have strengths and we have weaknesses. But I think one of the things that makes America truly different is we care about other people. We care about helping people. And you don't see that. Most cultures, most countries solely focus on themselves.
And we have to protect that.
And I think that a lot of people, where I'm going with this is people are making a lot out of Make America Great Again, as if we're only going to focus on Americans. I think what we're trying to do is regain that ability for the people themselves to govern ourselves rather than have a bureaucracy govern us against our will.
Yeah.
And that's
and I
worth
think that
fighting for.
makes the rest of the world so much better. Somebody's going to fill that void. Hey, guys, you're listening to Kathy Barnette. The call-in number is 855-839-1210. Where are y'all? Y'all real quiet today. Give me a call, 855-839-1210. Talk to you soon.
The election is over and a new pro-business administration's about to begin. At Swish Funding, we're ready to help America's small businesses thrive in 25. Whether it's for cash flow, expansion, or new equipment, Swish Funding has flexible funding options from $25,000 up to $2 million. You could get a decision in minutes and cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. With rates as low as 8%. To qualify, be in business at least 1 year with monthly revenue of at least $50,000. Apply today at swishfunding.com. SWISH funding.com.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
NDOT says it'll determine whether to put down brine as we approach the expected Sunday snow and look forward to the Eagles versus the Rams. A crowd-funded movie 20 years in the making about Delco is showing to sell-out crowds this weekend at the Media Theater. And the Philadelphia Orchestra plays a free concert at Girard College Monday to celebrate MLK Day.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee, if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Southampton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Where's the music?
New shows are often...
Woo! Pennsylvania, how y'all doing this morning? This is Kathy Barnette. I love looking at you guys talk over here on Twitter. Someone said, oh my God, I forgot to turn down the volume Kathy is on. So that I'm running at 10,000 amps. Shelly, I appreciate your comments out here. You said Americans need to realize that not everyone in the world has the same point of view as the Americans grew up with. And as I get older, I definitely do not have such an idealistic point of view anymore. Shelley, I agree. Let me just spin the globe. Let's see where we end up. Where am I? I'm back over here in China. But let's go over, you know what? Actually, I'm in Bangladesh. Actually, that's where my finger is, Bangladesh. You know, right before the end of last year, you had Sheikh Hasina get kicked out, booted by her people, right? And it's supposed to be this student-led group, right? So it's organic and it's grassroots. It's the people rising up. Not the case, I believe. Now she's over in India, can't go anywhere. But now what the people in Bangladesh are seeing is this totalitarian.
There's an interesting issue with that. People don't realize how important this is, but India, Bangladesh, Kashmir, and Pakistan, that area is a hotbed of all kinds of things, very similar to the Middle East, almost exactly the same reasons.
Yeah, Islam,
now, here's an interesting thing.
Hindu.
India outpopulates China now. People think China has more people. India now has more people than China does. And India is really being very aggressive in developing technology and commerce. India is really coming into her own, but that Bangladesh, Kashmir region is still creating a lot of tension between
But not
Pakistan
just with
and
Pakistan
India.
and India, but India and China.
Absolutely.
China is very aggressive on the northern borders of India.
They just fought a very, very big battle about a year ago when China didn't do well.
Exactly.
India handled themselves extremely well in that battle, and it was over the border that China shares with India. That people need to pay attention to that region because that's going to become more and more important economically and strategically as they continue to develop.
I believe so. You know what? Speaking of China and India, what about this BRICS? BRICS. It stands for what is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
And there's now 26 countries that have aligned with the BRICS. What the problem? Not the problem. The initiative of BRICS is to develop a currency to replace the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. And they're on the verge of doing that. Their entire objective is to form an economic alliance that replaces the United States as the dominant economic driver in the world.
And this is really being, like a lot of those particular, Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa don't necessarily care for America anyway. But I think they got an accelerant when Biden administration came into office and started using sanctions as a way to cripple people. Sanctions can go either way, and right now it has really not benefited us.
Kathy, no one can show me one single example where an economic sanction has had the intended purposes long term. Short term, maybe. Sanctions do not work long term. Every country finds a way around that sanction and continues to do what they want to do. Let me give you a good example. Joe Biden said at the beginning of the Russian-Ukraine conflict they were going to impose financial sanctions on Russia and cripple them and, quote, bring them to their knees. The Russian ruble today is stronger than it was at the beginning. Those sanctions are a joke. They have not done anything.
And they have really pushed people to find ways to decouple themselves.
That's exactly
from
what's
America.
driving the BRICS to find ways to get around the U.S. dollar being a reserve currency.
Now, Donald Trump actually spoke out specifically about this last week at his Mar-a-Lago presser, where he said, if you think I'm going to sit back, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, if you think I'm going to sit back while you BRICS find an alternative to the U.S. dollar, you got another thing coming to you.
And here's why that's so important. The U.S. dollar is a reserve currency. That's the only thing that allows us to print $35 trillion worth of debt. The moment that our dollar is no longer a reserve currency, our economy collapses much worse than 1929. It will be far worse than the economic collapse in the Depression of 1929. And our dollar is unstable right now. We're hanging by a thread because Russia and China have figured out that they can
survive.
And not just survive, but they're now trading oil in the Middle East with the BRIC currencies and the Chinese yuan, not the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
That's the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of the end for the U.S. dollar because that reserve currency status was always based on a treaty that Richard Nixon signed with Saudi Arabia in 1973.
And you saw Saudi Arabia has decided last year, or maybe in 2023, where they said we would no longer trade exclusively in the dollar.
Right. The reserve currency status was tied to the value of the oil in the ground in Saudi Arabia. And last year, Saudi Arabia said we're no longer honoring that treaty. So our dollar was traded on gold. Then it was traded on oil in the ground in Saudi Arabia. Now it has nothing to back it up.
Yeah.
That makes our dollar incredibly
And so when you have
now.
a collection of countries, now 26 countries a part of the BRICS,
Yes.
which their primary purpose is to decouple themselves from the need to trade in the U.S. dollar. So they're creating their own value.
And, people say, oh, well, that money, we just owe it to ourselves. No, we don't. No. We owe most of it to China. We owe a lot of it to Russia. We owe a lot of it to Saudi Arabia is the biggest purchaser of American Treasury bonds.
Hence the reason why I said China sneezes, Russia coughs, we catch the flu, right?
Absolutely.
We are not an island unto ourselves. We're not in a little bubble. And when our leaders say things, do things, implement things, it truly has an impact on the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is just kind of irritated, it seems, with America right now.
It's not just irritated, they're concerned, they're scared because they hold so much of America's debt, and at $35 trillion, and we're continuing to spend like a drunken I'm sorry, that's not fair to drunken sailors. We're spending money at a ferocious rate that we can't pay back, and we owe that money to them, and at some point they're going to say, wait a minute, these treasury bonds, these T-bills, these assets that we purchased
how stable
are worthless.
are they? So let me spin the globe. Here we go. Where am I going? I'm going to hit right here. I'm in the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the Middle East. Israel, Lebanon, Iran.
The interesting thing right now, the big news is this peace treaty. And it's going to take effect at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. Jerusalem time, not Eastern time, Jerusalem time. And people think that this is the end. It's over. It is not.
Yeah. Like at this point, Israel is bombing the mess.
Yes, and Yemen just launched 2 more intercontinental ballistic missiles at Israel this morning. So, but they're only going to release 3 female hostages tomorrow. They're going to release 4 more female hostages a week from now.
And when you say they, you're talking about Hamas.
Hamas. They're going to release 26 hostages over the next 5 weeks after that, maybe. And in response, Israel is going to release 900 people that are in prison for murder and.
Well, that doesn't seem very balanced.
Well, it's as balanced. Israel is a very generous nation.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem balanced, but they value life more than death. Hamas values death more than life.
Right.
And but people think that this ceasefire is it. It's not. It's actually designed to fail.
How so?
Because if Hamas doesn't release all the hostages, what happens? Israel's going to release all their prisoners. What happens if Hamas doesn't release the hostages? What happens if in phase 2 they fail to negotiate the next series of actions, which is Israel further withdrawing from Gaza? And then who's going to rebuild Gaza? There's so many things.
Yeah. And who's going to own Gaza? Is it going back to the Palestinians?
Palestinian Authority is saying they're ready to step in.
I don't think so.
But that's like saying, well, we're going to fix your cancer, but we're going to give you dementia instead.
Yeah.
It's
not a good
deal.
idea. Yeah, because the Palestinian Authority are very crippled in their ability. They haven't even had an election since 2006, I believe, because the people want Hamas.
They want Hamas.
They want Hamas.
Kathy, this whole situation, I think Donald Trump did a very good thing when he said there's all hell going to break loose if there's not a signed treaty.
And that's the reason. This has nothing to do with Biden.
It had nothing. But what they've done is they've cobbled together something both sides can agree to for tomorrow, the day before. But it is not comprehensive. It is not effective, and it's not going to last. It's something that gets both sides off the hook so that they can move through this diplomatically.
Yeah.
I think people should be very concerned long-term over how this plays out. I'm going to be paying very close attention to it. As you know, my expertise is Middle Eastern and geopolitical affairs.
Okay.
And the Middle East right now is a tinderbox. Syria fell. There's an awful lot going on with that. Turkey.
And you have Yemen.
Really
Yemen is really raising up.
Yemen is the only one of the crown jewels that Iran has built. They built Hezbollah, they built Hamas, they built Islamic Jihad, and they built the force of the Houthis in Yemen. Israel has not defeated the Houthis in Yemen. And this peace treaty has nothing to do with Yemen.
And
Yemen
so
is
this
going to
war
continue.
continues. So this is not like, okay, all is going well.
It's-
Again, what's the point of having these conversations? Because we do need to remove the blinders. And I
Yes.
know we have to pick our battles. There's so much going on. But my hope is that now that Donald Trump is back in office, we don't take that as a cue to put our feet up and have a sigh of relief. We
Amen,
must stay prayerful and prayerfully engaged. See y'all on the other side.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
In a world filled with financial information, Citizens can help you make sense of it. So whether you're signing up or hitting snooze on some financial newsletters, scrolling through your socials that all seem to be saying the same thing, or getting together with your neighbors at a cookout to game plan college funds, you're ready to make the most of it. Make sense of your money with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/made-ready.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most: happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you looking to achieve your health goals and start the new year right? Well, now's the time to optimize and support your heart health, cholesterol, digestive health, energy levels, and more with Rescue Natural Supplements with their New Year's savings. Rescue is celebrating you, so save 35% on single bottles of Rescue supplements with the code HEALTH35. Try the popular Rescue 1250 Omega-3 for heart health, Rescue Probiotic for better digestion, or Rescue Oracine for more energy. Whatever your health goals are, Rescue has you covered. To place an order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable Rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. Start your journey to better health today. Use the code HEALTH35. Again, save 35% on all single supplements. Use that code HEALTH35. Don't wait. Make this year your best yet with Rescue.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
I am like literally jamming to this song. I love it, I enjoy it. Yes. Hey, listen, I have a really cool comment from Shelly. Shelly, you are awesome. I would love for you to call in, and to anyone else at 855-839-1210. I'm just going to kind of scroll back up here on YouTube where Shelly says, 13 countries to become partner countries. These countries are Algeria, Belarus, I love saying Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Turkey, Uganda, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. And I was asking JR, has he heard about this? And again, this is kind of in line with what we're talking about, that the rest of the world is watching primarily the instability of the United States, the instability in how we've interacted with Russia, China, and others. And these smaller countries are saying, wait a minute, maybe we need to come together.
Well, nature abhors a vacuum, and politics abhors a vacuum as well. And when you have a vacuum of leadership, it gets filled. There's two things that these small countries have learned in the last, I'd say, 8 to 10 years. Between Obama and then first rule of Trump and then the Biden administration. And that is, there's two things that will give them a voice. One is if they band together as a group, an alliance, a large group of small countries has a much bigger voice than any one country by itself.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is nuclear weapons. If you have nuclear weapons, people pay attention to you. And if you can't get nuclear weapons, the only thing that you can go do is band together with a group of like-minded other countries that give you a bigger voice on the world stage that make sure people pay attention to you.
Are you hearing any concerns of this rush to nuclear armament?
Absolutely. Let me go back and say one thing that a lot of people paid a great deal of attention to. In 1993, Clinton and Tony Blair in England signed a treaty with Ukraine guaranteeing to protect them against Russian aggression in exchange for giving up their nuclear weapons. So they gave up their nuclear weapons.
Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons.
Ukraine gave up their nuclear
for
weapons.
For protection from NATO.
No, not from NATO, from the United States and Great Britain.
Okay.
And we promised them that if Russia ever was aggressive or attacked them, we would protect them. We haven't done that. We've given them weapons, but
we've given them a tremendous amount of money.
But we haven't protected them.
Ukraine is only standing right now as a result of America's
But we have
influence.
not fulfilled what we promised in that treaty.
Well,
other countries
what are we
have
supposed to
paid
do?
Protect them.
And
Boots
then
on the ground. That's what that treaty said we were going to go do, and we have not done it.
But
people think
didn't we make a promise? But didn't we also make a promise? But didn't we also make a promise to Russia that NATO would not move?
Absolutely. Well,
and so
we didn't say they wouldn't
think
move.
Well, that they would not move
put
into that areas onto their border,
and
we're
upset about.
Right, exactly. So this isn't just generally when we come to these discussions, we're like, okay, black and white, yes or no, up or down, and it's much more complicated than that, right? America made some promises to Ukraine, but America, Ukraine, and Europe made some promises to Russia.
But here's the consequences for that, because Ukraine gave up their weapons in exchange for supposed protection, and that didn't happen. Iran says, hey, the only way we're going to be able to truly be a player is to have nuclear weapons. Pakistan, the only reason we're going to be able to be paid attention to is nuclear weapons. Even Saudi Arabia is now discussing beginning a nuclear program. A lot of countries out there have taken a lesson from this situation between
that we
Russia
cannot
and Ukraine.
Trust America to create stability.
You can't trust a treaty.
Here's the reality. There are some in America and in my own movement who just want to, let's just focus on what's on the inside of our four borders. You can't live that way because we create a vacuum in the world. Someone is going to rise up and say, I want to take over the world.
Yep.
And America, someone has to be there. If it's not us, it's going to be China, it's going to be Russia, it's going to be somebody. We're getting ready to leave. I think this is it, right, Kurt? Guys, thank you so much for listening. Do you have a second? I'm going to give you the last minute.
I just want to thank you for having me on, and I hope that some of the things that we've talked about have been of value. And I want to tell everybody, pay attention. The world does affect your billfold, and the world does affect your family. You have to look at it from the right way.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Kathy Barnette Show. Go find me out there on Twitter at Kathy for Truth or on my website at KathyBarnette.com. Blessings.
You don't got the power, shut me down. That's not an option. I'm my biggest problem. You don't got the power,
Next Monday, January 20th, join WPHT at 6 a.m. Gale and Company will be live at the Newtown Athletic Club for the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. Dawn Stensland will be there from 10 till noon, and Dom Giordano from noon till 3. The Newtown Athletic Club is one of the top lifestyle clubs and health and wellness centers globally. Visit newtownathletic.com. You can't be at the inauguration, but you can be with fellow Patriots. Monday starting at 6 a.m. at the Newtown Athletic